And a big Friday morning. Good morning, everybody. Great to see you this Friday, September 6th. It is the Bill Press Show. We're coming to you live from our nation's capital, bringing you all the news of the day here in Washington, D.C., around the country, and around the globe. We'll tell you what's going on and then give you a chance to sound off about it and let us know what it all means to you and to your family. Great to have you with us today. And remember, when you want to sound off, you can do so by phone at 866-55-PRESS. Join us on Twitter at BP Show and on Facebook at facebook.com/Bill Press Show for your comments. This Friday, President Obama, another long day in St. Petersburg at the G20 summit. He'll have some group meetings. He'll take a group family photo, they call it. President one-on-one meetings with the president of China and the president of France. And then after that long day of meeting, he hops on Air Force One to come back across the pond, arriving at the White House tonight on the South Lawn in Marine One at 9:30 p.m., maybe for an address to the nation this weekend or Monday from the Oval Office. A lot of people are saying the president's got to do that to get the support of the Congress and the American people behind a military strike in Syria. An indication of maybe heading in that direction. The president has canceled his planned trip to the West Coast on Monday. In some other news, Alec Baldwin is the latest to get his own show on MSNBC starting this fall. And George Zimmerman, the man who got away with murder, literally, for murdering Trayvon Martin, was served divorce papers yesterday. It couldn't happen to a nicer scumbag. All of that on the Bill Press Show.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Aww, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look! Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes you.
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Did you see the world differently? Did you celebrate the victory?
So today, I state clearly and with conviction America's commitment to seek the peace and security of a world without nuclear weapons.
stand up against our greatest threat. Did you commit to change the world?
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
Are we going to hear from President Obama when he gets back from Russia? An address from the Oval Office coming up this weekend. A lot of people talking about it. Good morning, everybody. What do you say? We'll talk about it right here on the Bill Press Show this Friday morning. That's me, Bill Press. Good to have you. I was getting there. Friday, September 6th. Indeed, it's our favorite day around the Bill Press Show. Yours too, I'll bet. Glad to see it get here. And, it got here a little faster this week because, of course, it was only a 4-day week. But I discovered I like 4-day weeks.
It's not bad, huh? That's pretty good.
Pretty good. Crept up on us, and here we are. We'll make the most of it. Before we go into this big weekend, we'll make the most of it by bringing you up to date on all the latest. Lots going on here in our nation's capital with members of the Senate and members of the House still wrestling with this decision over Syria. They're just getting started because they come back from their 5-week August break on Monday, September 9, and jump right into hearings and debate. And then a vote maybe next week, maybe the week after, on whether or not they will support a military strike against Syria as the president has demanded, or requested, I should say. It's so good to have you with us today, and we look forward to hearing from you on the issues of the day. Any way you want, you can call us at 866-55-PRESS. That's our toll-free number. We pay for the call, and then we take your comments. Or easy peasy, go to your smartphone and send us a tweet at BP Show. That's our Twitter handle, at BP Show. And for all of our thousands of friends on Facebook, it's facebook.com/Bill Press Show. That's how you can comment on Facebook. Look at the team here in place this Friday morning. Peter Ogburn and Dan Henning.
Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Well, ready to go?
Happy
big
Friday.
Big plans for the weekend? No, just kicking back.
I'm doing the nation's triathlon here in Washington, D.C. on Sunday.
No,
I saw that they already have it set up. They have the little landing out in the beautiful Potomac River.
Have fun with that.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Where do you start?
It's West Potomac Park. You jump in the river and swim down and back. And
I know West Potomac Park, man. Played golf there a lot of times. I don't think I'd want to jump in the river from what I've seen of West Potomac Park.
Yeah, I've done this particular thing. This is my 4th year doing it, and every year I swallow a little bit more of the Potomac River, and it still scares the crap out of me every time.
Well, good for you. I'm glad you're out there representing all of us.
So if I'm not here on Monday, you know where I am.
Peter Ogburn, the Diana Nyad of the Bill Press team. Alicia Cruz has the phones covered this morning, standing by, and Cyprian Boulding keeps us looking good on the video cam, because you can not only listen to us on your local progressive talk radio station, and we encourage you to do so and support your stations and their sponsors, our sponsors, but also you can watch us on the video cam online. Go to youtube.com/TawkrTV. youtube.com/Tawker, spelled TAWKR TV. After this show, nobody's ever going to spell Tawker with an ER again. It's always
That's right. Times have changed.
We have changed it entirely. And don't forget, on Monday, big news Monday, we will be up on your little TV screen or your big TV screen, whatever, your flat screen, at on Free Speech TV, which you can get on DirecTV or the Dish Network. And how about it? Tonight at 11:27 p.m., the president will be back from St. Petersburg. Air Force One lands, and then the rocket takes off from Wallops Island, right?
Which this is actually what you asked about weekend plans. I wanted to go to this tonight. Turns out I can't get out of town. But Wallops Island is down in the southern tip of eastern shore of Virginia. Yeah. And you can camp out there on the beach in like Assateague and Chincoteague and camp out on the beach and watch these rocket launches.
That's a great camping site, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've done it before. You literally camp on the beach. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, Assateague is fabulous. They got the ponies out there, too.
Get the ponies and the rockets.
Right, yeah. How about it? So tonight, 11:27 p.m., as John Grunsfeld from NASA tells us, they are heading for the moon.
The mood here is tremendous. I'm sure there are many, many people who are very nervous. I can say one thing for certain about the Laddie spacecraft, which is, at the tip of the spear, on the rocket, ready to go. Laddie's not nervous at all.
Laddie's not nervous. It's an unmanned mission to the moon. I don't know how long it'll take to get there, but very exciting that NASA.
I think it's a pretty quick trip.
Still doing that, relatively speaking, at any rate. Yeah. Susan Paige from USA Today will be joining us, as she does every Friday morning, a little bit later this hour. Neil King from the Wall Street Journal will be coming along as well. And we'll find out about, in addition to talking about Syria, all the plans for getting 7 million people to sign up for ObamaCare. And will there be an Oval Office address? But first,
this is the Full Court Press.
Other headlines making news on this Friday. The NFL season got underway last night, and the Super Bowl champion Baltimore Ravens went down hard.
People don't tell the Ravens that the NFL season started.
Yes.
I think they forgot that they're the Super Bowl champs.
Peyton, well, the Super Bowl champs weren't there. The team doesn't exist anymore. Peyton Manning threw 7 touchdown passes, driving the Broncos to a 49-27 victory over Baltimore. He is the 6th NFL quarterback to throw 7 touchdowns in a game. Last player to do that was Joe Kapp way back in 1969. The game was delayed by 34 minutes because of a lightning storm last night. Interesting to note, the Ravens had to deal with a 34-minute delay in this year's Super Bowl because of that power outage that they had. They were victorious there, but not last night.
The Ravens would have won if they played in Baltimore.
This, by the way, confirms the fears of Ravens fans, and because they gutted their team. Yeah. After they won the Super Bowl, they had basically their entire defense left and went somewhere else. And what happens when your whole defense leaves? You have somebody score 49 something points.
49 points. South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley had a tough time when getting the kids ready for school this week. The Republican locked herself out of her house wearing just a bathrobe Wednesday morning when she waved her son off to school. She shared this on her Facebook page that after a few frantic minutes, her daughter had not left yet, figured out her mom was locked outside and let her back in. USA Today reports the South Carolina Democrats, of course, pounced on this, wondering why she could be so transparent about her personal life and her bathrobes, not so much about the business of the state.
Oh, give me a break.
I'm not going to beat up on her because I've done the same exact thing. I wasn't wearing my bathrobe, but I locked one of the kids in the house after he closed the door on me.
And Panda Watch at the National Zoo here in Washington. The baby panda born 2 weeks ago has passed another critical health check. We found out yesterday it's a girl. Also, the zoo revealed who the father is. It's Tian Tian, who lives at the zoo with Mother Mei Zhang. She was also artificially inseminated with semen from a panda from California, so they had to do a DNA test to find out who the daddy was. The baby has started to get its black panda markings, another good sign of health.
That's the trouble with these parents. They just sleep around. You never know who the parents are.
Drama. Baby mama drama.
How about it? Hey, well, the latest on Syria, a couple of ways. I want to get your comments on an Oval Office address. But first, I just got to say, this has been bugging me all week, and I just can't go into the weekend without getting it off my chest, which is, look, Syria is an important issue, okay? Everybody's talking about it. Went out to lunch with a good friend yesterday. I didn't want to talk politics. First question: what do you think is going to happen in Syria? What should we do in Syria? Okay, so it is important, and everybody should be talking about it because we all have a stake in this. It's not just members of Congress that ought to be debating it. We should be talking about it with our friends at lunch, at dinner, with our family, with our kids. Everybody should be talking about it. Everybody has a right to an opinion about Syria, except one person. At least one person. Maybe there are like 5. But except Donald Rumsfeld. I am so sick and tired of hearing Donald Rumsfeld and seeing him on cable television. And by the way, I'm sure George Bush has a feeling about it, right? Or even Dick Cheney or Condi Rice. Have we heard from them? No.
Nope.
No. They kept their mouth shut, right? Not Donald Rumsfeld. He's out there sliming President Obama, and it just royally pisses me off. Here he is, night before last, on Greta, saying, no leadership.
He says he didn't draw. It's drawn by the international community. You've got a Congress.
He did draw it.
I'm telling you what he said.
You're kidding. I didn't see that. This president has tried to find a way to blame everybody or anybody for everything. And leadership requires that you stand up, take a position, provide clarity, and take responsibility. And I can't imagine him saying that he didn't draw the red line. But he did draw the red line. And
this whole no leadership is the theme now that he's out there calling the president weak, saying it's amateur hour. Yesterday on CNN, yesterday morning, he picks up the same thing.
I think that what's going on here is almost any president in my adult life, I think, would have provided stronger leadership and greater clarity, and as a result generated broader support in the international community and in the country and in the Congress.
Yeah, right. No leadership. I mean, again, I'll take it from anybody, but from Donald Rumsfeld. I mean, first of all, this guy has zero credibility, right? As defense secretary, he was a joke. I mean, he was a total joke. He was a bumbling idiot at the Defense Department. This is a guy, remember, first of all, right after September 11, when they were meeting at Camp David, he's the guy that told Bush, no, we shouldn't invade Afghanistan, even though that's where the Al-Qaeda was. We should bomb Iraq because there are more targets in Iraq. I mean, that's been reported. You know, that's how you could depend on him for any intelligence or any common sense. So they go to Afghanistan. Anyhow, at least George Bush went to the country where Al-Qaeda was. But then Rumsfeld is one of the ones who pushed George Bush to abandon the war in Afghanistan and instead start this whole new war in Iraq. And then he was asked about, well, what do we know about what targets are there and what we're doing about it and what targets and how successful it is. And here's Rumsfeld. Remember this? They're talking about a boob. Classic answer.
There are known knowns. There are things we know we know. We also know there are known unknowns. That is to say, we know there are some things we do not know. But there are also unknown unknowns. The ones we don't know, we don't know.
I still can't figure that out.
That makes sense, doesn't it?
So that's how he explained the weapons of mass destruction. The known knowns, the known unknowns, and the unknown unknowns. Yes. And I guess weapons of mass destruction are among the unknown unknowns. So zero credibility, Donald Rumsfeld. He was a disastrous defense secretary. And then remember also, if President Obama is having any difficulty selling the strike on Syria today, it's because of people like Donald Rumsfeld.
Exactly.
It's because they lied to the American people. They lied about weapons of mass destruction. They lied about, cherry-picked the intelligence, lied about everything. And that's why the American people don't believe, or at least tend not to believe, what they hear from the government today about Syria and chemical weapons. So you know what I say to Donald Rumsfeld? Just shut the hell up. Just shut the hell up, Donald Rumsfeld. That having been said, now the question is, President Obama is coming back from St. Petersburg. Here's a question I want to ask you. Do you think he should give an address to the nation? Do you think it's necessary? And do you think it ought to come from the Oval Office? I got to tell you, I do. I think the president's going to win this in Congress. I think he should. But I'll tell you, I don't think he will if he just lets John Kerry go out there and do the talking. John Kerry's done an incredible job. But the Secretary of State alone and the Secretary of Defense alone are not enough. If the American people are really going to support this, they have to hear from the President of the United States. And I know we've been told the White House says President Obama doesn't like giving an address from the Oval Office. He's uncomfortable. He's not. They don't feel he's good at it. He sits behind the desk. He's a little, uptight, not relaxed. He's not at his best. But you know what? Nothing speaks of the solemnity of the issue. Nothing better speaks of the power of the presidency than sitting at that desk in the Oval Office. And I think if President Obama is really serious about Syria, and he is, that he should and must give an address to the nation from the Oval Office. And man, I got to tell you, I hope they're already writing that baby. I would do it Saturday night, Sunday night, or Monday night. I think there must be an address to the nation. And if it's really going to have an impact, it's got to come from the Oval Office, not from American University or George Washington University, not from the National Cathedral, not from the College of War. It's got to come from not the East Room. It's got to come from the Oval, sitting at that desk at the Oval Office. Don't you agree? Don't you want to hear that? Don't you want to hear the case from the Commander-in-Chief? 866-55-PRESS is our toll-free number. Let's talk about it here on the Bill Press Show. Friday morning.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Aww, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look, your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Did you see the world differently? Did you celebrate the victory?
So today, I state clearly and with conviction America's commitment to seek the peace and security of a world without nuclear weapons.
Did you stand up against our greatest threat? Change the world.
Like politics? Then like The Bill Press Show on Facebook. This is The Bill Press Show.
26 minutes after the hour, my latest column on Syria and on the president's call for Congress to debate the issue and vote on it is up at our website at BillPressShow.com. And Peter, I guess we've already sent that out too on Twitter and, and Facebook.
Yep, yes, indeed.
Another good reason to become our friend on Facebook at Facebook.com/BillPressShow. So check out my column right now. With the president coming back from St. Petersburg, a lot of people are saying they want to hear from the president, want to hear the president make the case, just like other presidents have over the years, on why any military action is necessary. Only the commander-in-chief can really make that case. John Kerry, in my judgment, but I think that's a fact. But I do believe that John Kerry and Chuck Hagel have done a great job, particularly John Kerry. His address to the nation last Friday. And his testimony in front of House and Senate committees. But the only one who can really tell the American people this is important, this is why you've got to be behind it, is the president. And he's got to do it, I think, from the symbol of power, which is that desk in the Oval Office. What do you say? 866-55-PRESS. David, out in Houston, listening on iHeartRadio. Hi, David.
Hey, how's it going, Bill?
Good, thanks.
Well, the way I look at it is, these people are our representatives, and the American people, I mean, they're overwhelmingly calling in and writing in and saying no, right?
They are, from what we've heard.
If we get involved in this conflict and everybody votes yes, or a majority votes yes, then that means that they are not representing us.
Well, two things about that. First of all, the question is, should the president himself make the case to the American people? What do you think about that?
Well, you can make the case all you want to, but we know the case. It's another Middle East country that they want to get involved in a civil war, and we say no because we've been down that path before. We know how it turns out. We know how this one's going to turn out. You don't need a crystal ball.
Well, David, it's nice that you have all the information in the world that you ever need. I would suspect that neither you nor I have all the evidence that the President of the United States has. And by the way, whether I agree or disagree with him, I want to hear his case, just like I wanted to hear the case that George W. Bush made about Iraq. I did hear it. I knew it. And I knew it was phony baloney, right? We haven't heard President Obama's case from him about the need for any military strike in Iraq, in Syria, and I think he's got to do it.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Aww, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look, your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Did you see the world differently? Did you celebrate the victory? Did you take a chance?
So today, I state clearly and with conviction America's commitment to seek the peace and security of a world without nuclear weapons.
Did you stand up against our greatest threat? Did you commit to change the world?
Get social with Bill Press. Like us at Facebook.com/Bill Press Show. This is the Bill Press Show.
Hey, here we go. 33 minutes after the hour now. It is a Friday. Friday is September 6th. So good to see you today. Thank you for joining us here on the Full Court Press, the Bill Press Show this Friday morning. So a lot of pressure on the president, a lot of requests and demands on the president to talk to the nation, address the nation, give an Oval Office address on Syria, lay out his case, and tell the people this is why this is what has happened. This is why it's important that we respond. I think it's very important for the president to give such an address. He ought to do it this weekend, I believe, before Congress comes back, and he ought to do it right from the Oval Office. He'll get that time if he asks for it from the networks, no doubt about it. I remember the days when other presidents tried to do too much of that, and the nation and networks were saying, "Oh no, not again. We're not going to do that again." Right? Bill Clinton abused it a little bit, but President Obama has. He's given, I think, one Oval Office address, and he and his team figured, this is not our style. This is not where we're best. Well, we'd rather give speeches somewhere else. Is it time for the president to take his case for Syria to the nation? 866-55-PRESS. Comments, Peter?
Yes, indeed. Lots of comments at BP Show on Twitter, at BP Show. You can chime in and follow us there. A lot of comments on Donald Rumsfeld. We played some of the Donald Rumsfeld clips.
I would hope so.
Earlier, yeah. Karen says the media should quit asking the opinions of Bush war criminals who lied us into war.
Yeah, every time I see him booked on these morning shows or the evening show, whatever, on cable TV, I think, why the hell would they have Donald Rumsfeld on it? Seriously. Zero credibility.
Easy booking.
Yeah.
Imzadi says, why do we want to hear from that has-been? He was wrong then, he's wrong today. Rummy needs to STFU and disappear again. And Phil says, Rummy is an known clown or something like that. And on the president's speech, should he give a speech from the Oval Office, Jessica Ramsaran says the Oval Office is fine as long as the president drops the mic. Nobody messes with the mic droppers. I like it.
Yeah, right. David, out in Anaheim, California on K-Talk 1150, that great blowtorch from Los Angeles. Hey, David.
Good morning, Bill.
Good morning. What do you think?
Well, if President Obama needs to feel comfortable on a Saturday giving some kind of a State of the Union or that type of a speech, he might feel good and, like, just wear his Saturday attire, his, regular golf shirt and his 5-iron. Just have a 5-iron hanging across the table there. But on a more serious point is Russia saying that they think that this is not their weapons-grade sarin gas that was sold to Syria. They're saying that their testing that they've done is saying that it's synthetic or whatever else, and it's not matching their blueprint or their DNA matched to their particular line of chemicals. What if this is something that was done by, the rebels, and they're just trying to drag us into this?
Well, David, first of all, again, you and I don't have access to all the information. I've asked people on this show, members of the Congress, House representatives in the House, and United States senators, some who are for a military strike, some who are for against it, and every one of them has said they've been to the briefings and they are totally convinced that chemical weapons were used, sarin gas was used, and that the orders to strike and the carrying out of the strike was done by the Syrian regime. That nobody, they say the evidence is overwhelming. And I just have to, from what I know, if it comes down to believing John Kerry or Barack Obama or Chuck Hagel over Vladimir Putin, no contest. No contest. Thank you, David. Thank you for the call. By the way, one other point, Politico has an interesting story on this today, which I think is very significant. For some people, we got to recognize this. And again, there are legitimate reasons. I want to put everybody in this camp. There are legitimate reasons, serious reasons for questioning the effectiveness of a military strike and for being worried about the consequences of it. But for too many people, this is all about Barack Obama. This is all about making him look weak, making him look bad. Politico reports this morning about how many people who were gung-ho for invading Iraq are suddenly, where there were no weapons of mass destruction, are suddenly raising all kinds of questions about a limited military strike, not a war, a limited military strike against Syria, where there are definitely weapons of mass destruction, where those weapons have been used, and they've been used by the Syrian government. Rick Santorum yesterday comes out. Big hawk on Iraq. Rick Santorum yesterday comes out and says, big mistake to do anything in Syria. James Inhofe, right? Total jerk from Oklahoma. Big hawk on Iraq. Oh, no. We shouldn't do anything at all in Syria. It's too late. We should have done something maybe 6 months ago or a year ago, but now it's too late. So I just say, beware of these Republicans who suddenly sound like such purists when it comes. They're faced with a real threat, they want to do nothing. Faced with a totally manufactured threat, then they were all for it.
It's right? Like they forget that we have tape. We know what they said before. They're on record as saying things before. When you put the two side by side, it's.
But that so to me that really makes me very suspicious of the opposition, right? To this again. Take a look at the facts. Take a look at the evidence, and then people can decide up or down. And I respect either decision. But those people who are they're out there, who are just doing it. And I would say the other side, Democrats who would vote for this just to make Obama look good, that's the wrong motivation. And Republicans who would vote against it just to make Obama look bad, that's not what we're paying them for. That's not what they ought to be basing their decision on. We'll be talking Syria, of course, more throughout the show. There are a couple of those stories I just wanted to mention, Peter. One of them is this headline I saw this morning. E-cigarette use doubles among teen students. More and more teenagers use in grades, this is grades 6 through 12, are turning to e-cigarettes. Is that good or bad?
It's sort of Dodge City out there with these e-cigarettes now.
They're not regulated.
They're not regulated. I mean, the idea is that
is this the way kids? Is there nicotine in these e-cigarettes?
There is a trace amount of nicotine in some of these. I think some of them run strictly on water vapor, which, by the way, I don't know the safety behind inhaling water vapor like that and using it as a cigarette. I should say, using it that much, replacing a cigarette.
What's wrong with water vapor?
I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
There's nicotine in it, is the problem. But it's flavored water vapor.
But there's not a lot.
There's not a lot.
Enough to get addicted, though. That's why there's calls for regulation. And the thing is that they're flavored. I mean, you can get like a vanilla water vapor or a menthol flavored water vapor cigarette. And the other problem is apparently they explode sometimes. There's these stories of these blowing up in your face.
They should have sent one of these to Fidel Castro.
Right?
They were thinking about
water vapor cigars.
No, I mean, when I saw this at first, and then I heard people saying, "Oh, this is terrible." But when I first saw it, I thought, "Oh, this is better than smoking the real thing." Right?
I think that
is it better than smoking the real thing?
I guess the thing is that we don't know exactly because it's sort of a new thing and it is unregulated. I don't know if it's been looked at closely enough. I mean, ideally, there is less nicotine in this than cigarettes.
Yeah, right.
So, I mean, there is that. That's just a fact. But
are e-cigarettes used as a way of to get people to kick the habit? In other words, instead of the Nicorette?
Yeah.
The gum or the patch.
It's not so much that as it is a way to allow people to smoke inside.
Yeah.
Oh, because
it doesn't make smoke. It doesn't make a smell. You can
sit at your desk right now while you're on the air, have one, and Peter wouldn't smell it because the vapor would evaporate as soon as you exhale it.
So are they allowed in offices?
Yeah.
Those buildings that are smoke-free, are you allowed to have a electronic cigarette?
I've seen people sit down in restaurants that are, you can't smoke in restaurants. At least here you can't. And as soon as the meal is over, take out their e-cigarette and start puffing in the middle of the restaurant.
And do you just buy one, right? You don't have to. You don't get a pack of e-cigarettes.
I think so, and then you just have the little
filters or something.
Filters or refills.
Cartridges of water vapor. Yeah, I think so. But I don't think they're that cheap. But
I know they're not that. I've seen them for sale. I mean, you can get cheap ones, but I mean, they have levels. You can buy like a nice, stylish-looking one, or you could just buy one that looks like a pin.
All right. So I guess the real pure position here is don't smoke real cigarettes and don't smoke e-cigarettes either, right?
I wouldn't.
All right. There you go. You got it right here from the Bill Press Show. When we come back, Susan Paige is the bureau chief for USA Today, joining us to talk about the news of the week.
Follow us on Twitter @BP Show. This is the Bill Press Show.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look! Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know, you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Here we go, 13 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Friday morning, Friday, September 6th. You want a good roundup of the news of the week, news of the day, and news of the week, go to USA Today. Great website, by the way. I think a lot of features, a lot of great photography there, and a lot of important news stories. And one of the people responsible, the Washington bureau chief for USA Today, Susan Paige. She's all over that page today. Hey, Susan, how are you?
Hey, Bill, I'm great. How are you?
All right. So Janet Napolitano going off into the sunset, today?
Today's her last day. She has been head of the Department of Disaster, right? Can you imagine a worse job in Washington?
No, and when she took it, right? I mean, it was
yeah.
that's been the hardest agency because so many different things were just like thrown into the kitchen sink there, you know?
I mean, it's airline bombers and it's flu pandemics and it's hurricanes and floods and you name it.
But she's pulled it all together, I think, very well.
I think she's been, there's not a scandal associated with her, not a serious scandal. I mean, there have been some controversies. She's, I think it's one of those jobs where your greatest successes will never be known because they're probably classified in secret. And she is, to the surprise, I think, of a lot of us, chose to resign, is leaving to head the University of California.
Which is a great job, by the way. I mean, the head of that system, she has her challenges there too, right, with the budget cuts and everything in California. But
well, I'm sure that's true, but they won't have the same kind of life and death cast.
No.
That this one has. When I interviewed her yesterday, she said that she would open up her briefing book every day and say to her briefer, "No sunshine and kitty cats today, I see."
Does she feel that she's accomplished a lot there and she's eager to move on? What mood was she in yesterday?
She was she was in a pretty good mood, as you might expect.
Yeah.
I think she feels like she's accomplished a lot and survived. But I also asked her what's been disappointing, and she said the failure, at least so far, to pass a comprehensive immigration bill. She thinks is a great. She thinks is the thing that she expressed the most regret about.
One of the things she's had responsibility for, and I think again here you don't get credit. She doesn't get credit for what she's accomplished. She's really tight, and with President Obama's, of course, policies, calling out his policies, that she's really increased security at the border.
She has, and of course, that's one of the big arguments against that Republicans in the House give against voting for a comprehensive bill, that the border's not secure enough.
But I don't think they know their facts.
She said that's not a reason, that's an excuse. That it's that they keep moving the goalposts. She says the border is more secure than it's been in decades, and she sort of dismissed the idea that that's the real reason that opponents are opposing a comprehensive bill.
No, I've talked to her about that in terms of the new technology and the greater number of border guards that we've got there and everything. There are few. I think the net flow today across the border is south, not north.
Yeah, and of course the draw for people who come to the United States illegally often is work. That is I think the most frequent reason that people come here illegally. And she made the point that if you had a more sensible immigration system, you might be able to control that part of it better.
Mm-hmm. Susan Paige is joining us on our news line. She's Washington Bureau Chief for USA Today, usatoday.com. So, Susan, the other thing you talk about this morning, of course, is that Syria found its way into the deliberations of the G20, right?
And it's in the it's dominating not just the G20, but things here in town. And I got to say, number one, I was shocked last week when the president said he was going for congressional authorization, and I am surprised at the difficulty he seems to be having in putting together a majority on behalf of his position on the Hill.
Very much so. Some of that opposition, it's curious, I find, is coming from people who were so gung-ho about Iraq, right, where there were no weapons of mass destruction, and here where we know there are weapons of mass destruction, people like Rick Santorum yesterday comes out and says, oh, no, we shouldn't do anything in Syria, right?
Well, of course, we should note that at the time of the vote in Iraq, all the officials had assured everyone that there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. But I'm struck by people like Marco Rubio, who has been a real proponent of doing more in Syria, now saying he'll vote no.
Don't you think a lot of that had to do with the fact that Rand Paul voted no?
I think politics could have played a part in some of these decisions, yes.
Yeah. Now, the big question we've been grappling with this morning is, with the president coming back, and a lot of people are saying, we want to hear the case from the commander-in-chief. The American people want to hear that, and members of Congress do. Do you think we will?
I assume we will. I think that's a very fair point that both critics and supporters make, that the country needs to hear from the president. He did speak from the Rose Garden last Saturday, but, Saturday of Labor Day weekend, no.
He didn't lay out the case.
Exactly.
As you said, I sat down thinking, now he's going to tell us that the missiles are already on their way and what they're striking, and instead he says, no, we're going to hold it up until Congress comes back. But
and that was a lot. That was a journalist lesson that I have to learn over and over again, which is even if everybody around him says he's going to make this decision, it's going to happen, you really need to wait to hear from the president on some of this stuff.
Right. So do you think that we will hear an address before Congress starts this debate, and do you think it'll be? They don't really he doesn't like doing stuff from the Oval Office, but there's nothing like that desk at the Oval Office to tell you we're serious now, huh?
I assume we're going to hear from him address the nation, because otherwise how could he argue that he's effectively done all he can to make his case to the public? And if the public isn't with him, it makes it really hard to get Congress to vote against the views of their constituents.
Well, once again, Susan, maybe we're making the same mistake, but I think we are together in assuming that Saturday, Sunday, Monday, because he canceled his trip to Los Angeles,
right?
That one of those days we're going to hear him address the nation, maybe from the Oval Office or the East Room or who knows where. But we'll be there. Susan.
Bill, I would say we were often wrong but never in doubt, so I totally agree with you.
All right. Have a great weekend,
you
Susan.
too, Bill.
Thanks for joining us Friday morning. Susan Paige here from usatoday.com.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know, you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Okay, in the next hour, Hunter Walker from Talking Points Memo is going to bring us up to date on the big mayor's race in New York, and then we'll be joined in studio by Alex Jaffe from The Hill. Peter, what's up?
Yeah, The Guardian and the New York Times continue to break news on the NSA spying program. So the latest revelation that came out is that the NSA has invested a lot of time and a lot of money in cracking codes and passwords that people use on their bank accounts, on email addresses.
Oh, God.
They spend $250 million a year to engage these IT specialists to figure out how to crack your password. These things that you're sort of told are safe when you have a bank account or an email account. Yeah. Nothing's safe.
So the next time I forget my password, should I just go up to NSA headquarters up there up Highway 50 and say, hey, what's my password?
This is the Bill Press Show.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Aww, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
And a big Friday morning. Good morning, everybody. Great to see you this Friday, September 6th. It is the Bill Press Show. We're coming to you live from our nation's capital, bringing you all the news of the day here in Washington, D.C., around the country, and around the globe. We'll tell you what's going on and then give you a chance to sound off about it and let us know what it all means to you and to your family. Great to have you with us today. And remember, when you want to sound off, you can do so by phone at 866-55-PRESS. Join us on Twitter at BP Show and on Facebook at facebook.com/Bill Press Show for your comments. This Friday, President Obama, another long day in St. Petersburg at the G20 summit. He'll have some group meetings. He'll take a group family photo, they call it. President one-on-one meetings with the president of China and the president of France. And then after that long day of meeting, he hops on Air Force One to come back across the pond, arriving at the White House tonight on the South Lawn in Marine One at 9:30 p.m., maybe for an address to the nation this weekend or Monday from the Oval Office. A lot of people are saying the president's got to do that to get the support of the Congress and the American people behind a military strike in Syria. An indication of maybe heading in that direction. The president has canceled his planned trip to the West Coast on Monday. In some other news, Alec Baldwin is the latest to get his own show on MSNBC starting this fall. And George Zimmerman, the man who got away with murder, literally, for murdering Trayvon Martin, was served divorce papers yesterday. It couldn't happen to a nicer scumbag. All of that on the Bill Press Show.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know, you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Did you see the world differently? Did you celebrate the victory?
So today, I state clearly and with conviction America's commitment to seek the peace and security of a world without nuclear weapons.
Did you stand up against our greatest threat? Change the world.
broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
President Obama addresses the nation from the Oval Office. Oh, yeah? Will that happen this weekend? A lot of speculation about it. Good morning, everybody. What do you say? Friday, September 6th. On your local progressive talk radio station and on TawkrTV, youtube.com/TawkrTV, TAWKR-TV. It is the Bill Press Show. Good morning, Friday morning, September 6th. Thank you for being there. Thank you for joining us, whether you're listening or watching online. Good to have you part of the program this morning as we tackle the big stories of the day. Ending up the week kind of where we started it on Syria. It's even dominated discussions at the G20 summit in St. Petersburg last night. President Obama, he had a late night. Man, he usually gets to bed pretty early, like George W. Bush used to. But he was up at that. He didn't get back to his hotel till 2:00 in the morning, St. Petersburg time. Man, I don't know,
man. Yeah. That's a rough night.
Yeah, he was working it, and today he's got a full day of meetings. Yeah, man, full day meetings, and then heading back here to the United States, arriving back at the White House tonight at 9:30. So we'll bring you up to date on what's happening in St. Petersburg, here in Washington, D.C., anywhere else on the globe or in the country. And then want to hear from you as to where you're coming down on military strike in Syria and other issues. 866-55-PRESS, our toll-free number. On Twitter, anytime your comments, send them in to @BPShow, and on Facebook, facebook.com/BillPressShow. You will then join the team here with Peter Ongburn and Dan Henning.
Hey.
Hello.
Good morning. Happy Friday.
Alicia Cruz standing by to take your calls, and Cyprian Bolding. If we look so good online, it has nothing to do with us. It's all Cyprian. Cyprian, yeah.
Guys, he's a magician.
He takes the crap that he gets through the camera and then turns it around and makes it look good.
He's working.
Yeah. Well, NFL, as Cindy Boren told us yesterday, just about this time, she was here with us from the Washington Post sports blogger. The NFL season, believe it or not, got underway last night. The world champions Super Bowl Ravens, defending their title, should have played in Baltimore, but there was an Orioles game. Not enough parking for both to happen at the same time, so the Ravens had to go to Denver, where they got slaughtered. Peyton Manning, quarterback, of course, for the Broncos, set not a new record, but
tied a record.
Yeah. Of 7 touchdowns in one game.
And no interceptions.
Oh, wow.
Didn't throw an interception last night.
Here he is.
Penalty flag thrown. DT as a screen pass, and he's off to the races. DT at midfield, and he is long gone. 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. He walks into the end zone. Touchdown, Denver. And if it stands, that will be Peyton Manning's 7th touchdown pass. He ties an NFL record.
I have to break it. There's some breaking news. Peyton Manning just threw his 8th touchdown pass. He just threw another one. He's still throwing touchdown passes.
The game went into overtime. So no. Actually, it didn't. The final call, with the score, thanks to Peyton Manning, Ravens getting clobbered.
This game is over, and the Broncos have started the 2013 season in fine fashion as they have beaten the Baltimore Ravens here at Sports Authority Field at Mile High. Final score, Denver 49, Baltimore 27.
Oh, man.
You mentioned they couldn't play in Baltimore because the Orioles game was at the same time. There was a parking issue. They could have played in Baltimore because no one went to the Orioles game last night out of protest.
Yeah.
F Major League Baseball and Bud Selig and Peter Angelos for making a big stink.
Particularly Peter Angelos.
Well, Bud Selig fought on his behalf to make this happen, and screw them.
Yeah.
So they had a consolation prize of a Keith Urban concert in the Inner Harbor. They had a floating barge in the middle of the harbor with fireworks and like the NFL logo, and watched Keith Urban for like 5 minutes before the game started last night.
That sounds like they were being punished.
Yeah.
Why would I want that?
Right. Okay. Anyhow, So we're going to talk New York politics with Hunter Walker from Talking Points Memo. The mayor's race, the primary is on Tuesday. We'll get the latest from Hunter Walker. Alex Jaffe from The Hill will be here in studio with us. Neil King from Wall Street Journal the next hour. And we'll also talk Obamacare and how the administration and other organizations, what they're doing to sign up 7 million people starting October 1. But first...
This is the Full Court Press.
Other headlines making news on this Friday. Alec Baldwin is heading to MSNBC to host a weekly talk show. Up Late will air Friday nights at 10 Eastern, focusing on current events and culture. Baldwin said in a statement he's developed a fondness for content involving smart, talented, and, quote, engaging people in every imaginable field over the last 2 years of hosting his popular podcast. MSNBC says it looks forward to having Baldwin's personality and eclectic interests as part of its lineup.
I think this is a big mistake. I mean, come on. This is celebrity journalism at its worst.
I agree. I mean, he's a dope. I mean, he got in trouble for making some sort of anti-gay comments on Twitter not so long ago. He beat up another photographer just last week, which is what he's known for these days more than his acting.
And as we mentioned, the NFL season getting underway in a state where marijuana is legal last night. That's, of course, Colorado. Pot use is illegal in the NFL.
That's why the Broncos did so well.
Right, they were all high. No, they were not, because pot use is illegal.
High.
Pot use. That's a joke that I would make. Come on.
It wasn't that
bad. That's
bad.
the unkindest cut. Good Lord.
Pot use is illegal in the NFL, but the folks at the Marijuana Policy Project think it's time for that to change, so they bought a billboard next to Mile High Stadium that says the NFL needs to stop driving players to drink, as a safer choice is now legal here. They say if the league truly cared about the health and safety of its athletes, they would allow them to choose marijuana instead of alcohol.
Some good weed in Denver.
Yeah, so I wonder, were people smoking in the stand? Or you can't? Yeah.
I don't know if you can you smoke in a public place like that?
No, you cannot.
No, you can't. That would have been wild, man. 40,000 fans lighting up. Oh, my God.
And another rough day for George Zimmerman yesterday, just days after getting pulled over.
Too bad.
Yes, getting pulled over again for speeding earlier this week. His wife yesterday decided to file for divorce. ABC reports Shelley Zimmerman says her husband's killing of Trayvon Martin and subsequent acquittal had put too much of a strain on their marriage, even though she stuck through it during the trial.
Perjury during the trial, right?
Yes, and she is asking for equitable distribution of their assets and debts, but wants sole custody of their two dogs.
They got a lot of assets between the two of them.
Yeah.
They got a big ass on her husband. You know what? I got to tell you, every bad thing that could possibly happen, he deserves.
Yeah. Although, as somebody pointed out on Twitter, this is George Zimmerman dodged another life sentence yesterday by getting a divorce. So.
Oh, man. Yep, here we go. It's been rock and roll, a lot of ups and downs in particularly the Democratic primary in New York. How's it look here just 3 or 4 days from primary day? Hunter Walker's joined us before. He reporter for Talking Points Memo following this race. Hey, Hunter, how's it going?
Not bad. How are you, Bill?
You must be sorry to see this thing come to an end, aren't you? I mean,
Well, it's not over yet. I mean, it's definitely looking like we're going to have a runoff, which means we get another 2 or 3 weeks of mayoral election.
When, if there is a runoff, when is the final election or the final for the primary? Yeah,
part 2 of the primary would be October 1st, and then of course the general's in November.
Yeah, October 1st, not that far away. So you say that it looks like there will be a runoff in the Democratic primary. What about the latest poll I saw with de Blasio with a pretty big lead, 43% at least, over 40%?
Right, so that Quinnipiac poll shows him beating the runoff. But of course, he's only beating by 3, which is within the margin of error on that poll. And also the polls there's a lot of mistrust for the polls here. Errol Lewis, who's a host on New York One, just wrote a great story in the Daily News where he detailed just how wrong Quinnipiac and Marist have been in the last few mayoral elections. So there's a lot of indication that they might be overestimating him a little bit. I think he will come in first, but most people are expecting to see him, end up in round 2, and his campaign says the same thing.
If he ends up in round 2, first of all, it's pretty startling to me that he even would be in the top 2 from where, early on, but he's apparently run a pretty good campaign. Who do you think he'd be in the runoff? Will? Is it with Bill Thompson, with Christine Quinn?
Right now, if you're adding up momentum, it's looking like Bill Thompson. I mean, you had Christine Quinn go from basically where de Blasio is now to, dropping into third and dropping more and more with each poll. And Thompson is really the one who has the best argument that he's being undercut in the polls. Because in the past, he's had a lot of minority support. And that's really where the pollsters keep messing up year after year.
What do you attribute Bill de Blasio's success?
Well, first off, I did a story a while back looking at the different campaign teams that everyone had, and de Blasio really has one of the best staffs of anybody in the race. And particularly his ad man is John Del Staccato, who did the same job for President Obama in both of his campaigns. And everybody has said that de Blasio's ads, particularly the one featuring his son, have had a huge, huge effect on this race. And we've actually now seen Bill Thompson release an ad with his daughter that everybody was thinking is a big copycat for that. So I think, Bill de Blasio really had a top-flight team kind of push him over the edge here.
What happened to Anthony Weiner? People have just finally had enough, huh?
Yeah, I mean, if we're saying that Quinn is looking worse and worse in each poll, it's pretty much time to have a moment of silence for Anthony's political career.
Yeah.
Are we done with that?
Well, yeah, right. You know what? I think he had a shot until the second round, right? When if it was the first round of just the stuff that he did while he was a member of Congress, right? I think he could have survived that. But the second round, to me, is just what killed him when everybody said, oh, my God, he was doing this like a month ago. He's been doing this since he's been in New York during this so-called rehabilitation period. And that just disgusted everybody, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, there was basically, he argues that, we're all fixated on the timeline, and what was important to him and his family was something else that he hasn't specified. But, people certainly felt lied to and felt like he had said he'd stop doing this once he resigned from Congress, and lo and behold, he hadn't.
Has Mayor Bloomberg endorsed in the race, and do you think he will?
There's been a lot of coverage in that lately. He has not. And the conventional wisdom at the moment is that for a Democrat or a Republican in the general or the primary, it would actually hurt to have Mayor Bloomberg's endorsement.
After 3 terms, right? They don't want to. Well, go ahead.
It's kind of weird, actually, because he has a fairly good approval rating.
Yeah.
And, at the same time, Bill de Blasio sort of surged by having an anti-Bloomberg candidacy. Mm-hmm. So I think the real issue with him is that the third term itself was toxic. And Quinn's in trouble because she's seen as supporting it.
Of course.
So that's really where he, gets a candidate in hot water by endorsing them.
Final question. I just got to ask you. So what's happening in the race for a city comptroller in the Democratic primary?
Well, this one now, I think when I spoke to you last, Spitzer was up 19.
Yeah.
Then the next poll, it was tied, and the new one has Stringer up by 2. So, this is a really, really good illustration of just how crazy the polls are here in these local races in New York. We're basically flying without instruments, and all I can tell you is that race is a toss-up.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, from a big lead early on for Eliot Spitzer. All right, Hunter, we'll be watching Tuesday, entire nation. Have fun with it, all right? Talk to you again next week, probably. All right.
Thanks very much.
Hey,
Bye.
Hunter Walker, reporter for Talking Points Memo at TalkingPointsMemo.com.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know, you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Did you see the world differently? Did you celebrate the victory?
So today, I state clearly and with conviction America's commitment to seek the peace and security of a world without nuclear weapons.
Did you stand up against our greatest threat? Change the world.
This is the Bill Press Show.
All right, 24 minutes after the hour, Alex Jaffe from The Hill joining us in studio. In the next segment, right now it's a Friday. And on a Friday, we love to look back at the week that just was and bring you our favorite sound bites from the week. We start out at the bottom, work our way to the top, and start out today with Diana Nyad. She did that, swam the Havana Straits and Florida Straits, I guess they call it. Had 3 messages for her followers.
I got 3 messages. One is
she's exhausted.
You should never ever give up.
And she didn't.
2 is you're never too old to chase your dreams. That's right. Sister. 3 is, it looks like a solitary sport, but it's a team
I can't believe she swam all that while drunk.
Yeah,
she sounds hammered.
Sounds like it. But took her 54 hours. She made it. Moving right along. 1998 Crossfire. One of the highlights of the old Crossfire. Me and John Boehner.
Number 4.
Why should we pay you for more than 89 when you're only working 89?
89 days here in Washington. As you know, we've got constituents at home. We've got issues in our district that we need to deal with. And the fact is, this is classic Washington thinking, that if we're not passing some new big government program or issuing new regulations getting into the pockets of our constituents, then we're not working.
See? John Boehner and I have been fighting ever since. Haven't agreed on anything since. Jon Stewart is back on The Daily Show, and here's what he learned while he was gone.
Number 3.
I have to tell you, I'm so excited to be back. I learned an awful lot this summer. One, I learned I have the beard of a 90-year-old prospector. I learned that I'm Western. Because for all that I appreciated and learned about the culture that I was immersed in, boy, I'm Western.
Where was he again? He was Kazakhstan?
In Jordan, I think.
Was it Jordan?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Shooting a movie.
Shooting a movie, right. And moving right along. John McCain caught at the big hearing on Syria in the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. He had his smartphone out and was playing poker. Wolf Blitzer asks him about it.
Number 2.
Well, as much as I like to, I'm always listen in rapt attention constantly with remarks of my colleagues over a 3.5-hour period. Occasionally I get a little bored and... And so I resorted, but the worst thing about it is I lost thousands of dollars in this game.
You what?
I lost thousands of dollars.
You lost thousands of dollars, not real money. And finally, Anthony Weiner, we just learned that he probably, most likely, he's not going to be in the runoff in New York mayor's race, but he is not going out quietly. Here he is with a voter in a New York deli.
Number 1.
What's that? What's that? What's that? You wait till I walk out till you say anything. That's courage. That's courage. You wait till I walk out to say. Okay. Yeah, you're not afraid of anything. Don't use language in front of kids.
You have a nerve to even walk around in public.
You're a perfect person.
I'm not
You're my judge. But you're my judge. What rabbi taught you that?
I didn't do it.
What rabbi taught you that you're my judge?
You know what? Don't get in a pissing contest with a skunk, and don't get in a shouting match with Anthony Weiner. Good advice. All right, when we get back, the politics of Syria with Alex Jaffe.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Aww, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look, your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach
likes
your
you.
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know, you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Did you see the world differently? Did you celebrate the victory? Did you take a chance?
So today, I state clearly and with conviction America's commitment to seek the peace and security of a world without nuclear weapons.
Did you stand up against our greatest threat? Did you commit to change the world?
This is the Bill Press Show.
Here we go, 33 minutes after the hour on a Friday. Hey, it's Friday morning. Into the weekend we go, but not quite yet. We got a lot of news to talk about, a lot of politics to talk about, a lot of Syria to talk about here on the Bill Press Show. Good to have you with us. Thanks for joining us, whether you're listening on your local progressive talk radio station. Thank you for being there, or if you're watching us online, and you can do so if you just go to youtube.com/TawkrTV, TAWKR TV. You can find us as long as you know how to spell Talker. And who doesn't spell Talker? TAWKR.
That's right. We're taking over.
On Talker TV. And on starting Monday, remember, we will be up on, in addition to on the radio, in addition to online, we'll be up on television on Free Speech TV, which you can pick up on Dish Network or Direct TV. A lot of political races, even though this is kind of an off year around the country, and a lot of people who are candidates or working in those campaigns thinking about, oh my God, what do we do now about Syria, and how might that impact us already this year? Alexandra Jaffe is a reporter, political reporter for The Hill, in studio with us this morning. Hi, Alexandra.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Glad that you're in town and not part of those people who are still off at the beach or whatever.
Must be nice.
It must be nice. You know, a lot of people did not, even though Labor Day was last Monday and it was over, a lot of people just thought, well, what's one more week, right? You know? Because it's a 4-day week, so we might as well stay at the beach.
I worked the weekend. I worked through the whole weekend, so I'm...
Damn.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Not happy with those votes.
Right. So to what extent is Syria sort of, and this vote, looming over House and Senate races or governor's races or political races at all, both for this year and for next year?
Yeah, it's probably going to have kind of a big effect on the outcome of the vote, because there are a lot of those vulnerable senators and vulnerable House members that it's going to be a tough vote. I mean, nobody really wants to go to war with Syria. Public opinion is 60% against it. I think there was a poll that was released this week.
If not higher.
Right, exactly. So a lot of those vulnerable red state Democrats in states that Obama lost, have a particularly hard time kind of selling this one at home. And a lot of those incumbent Republicans who are facing primary challenges. So Mitch McConnell's one of them. Lindsey Graham is another. He's got 3 primary challengers. And of course, the conservative wing of the GOP is very opposed to this. So they're going to have another tough vote.
The conservative wing of the GOP, many of whom, if not all of whom, were very gung-ho for invading Iraq, where there were no weapons of mass destruction, but have a problem with a military strike against a country that does have weapons of mass destruction and has used them. So there's a little politics at play here, wouldn't you say?
Well, as Governor Chris Christie put it, there's a strain of libertarianism growing in the GOP, and so there's been this very much isolationist wing growing. They don't want to spend the money that it takes to go and be the world police, as they refer to it. So
now, where to start on the political landscape? You mentioned Kentucky. Let's take a look at that, because you have 2 things going on there, right? There's a challenge in the Republican primary. And then you've got a strong Democrat challenging whoever wins that Republican primary. Let's start on the Republican side. Mitch McConnell in trouble?
Well, it's a perfect storm for him, really. It's kind of the first year where we've even seen polling that shows him even, or his first race, rather. And he is very unpopular in Kentucky. So the fact that he's got, really, really bad. I think the last poll I saw, more than 60% of Kentuckians were not happy with his job in Washington, which isn't entirely surprising. He's kind of the face of the GOP. But his Tea Party opponent, Matt Bevin, is actually pretty credible. He's a pretty strong candidate.
Who is he?
He's a local businessman. He owns a bell-making company and worked in private equity, basically, so he can put some of his own money into it. And he actually just the other day insisted that he's not a part of the Tea Party.
Well, I know. We have that clip, which is interesting. I want to ask you why, because Tea Partiers have been challenging incumbent Republicans successfully.
Right.
Now, maybe they didn't do that well like Christine O'Donnell once they got the nomination.
Right.
But here's Matt Bevin a day or so ago saying, no, don't call me a Tea Partier.
I'm not positioning myself as a Tea Party guy. I'm running as a Republican in a Republican primary.
You don't have the endorsement
I have endorsements from any number of people who are Tea Parties. I have endorsements for a number of people.
The Madison Project?
Fantastic. I appreciate these endorsements.
So you do not want to be the Tea Party candidate?
I'm a Republican. I'm running in a Republican primary. Are
you a Tea Partier?
I've never been a member of a Tea Party.
Okay.
Never been a member of a Tea Party, so that was Luke Russert grilling him on MSNBC. Does this mean that the Tea Party is just doesn't have the political clout that it once had, or what's that all about?
You know, it's interesting. I called up a Tea Party group that endorsed him, and I said, does this offend you? Are you going to withdraw your support? And they said, no, he talked to us about this, and it's a strategic choice he made, because it does alienate, some Republican voters who see the Tea Party, tarred with a lot of the bad stuff that's going on in Washington, the obstruction, et cetera, and aren't even willing to look at a Tea Party candidate.
Yeah.
So he's trying to broaden his appeal.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if it works.
Now, on the Democratic side, Allison Grimes looks like she's going to win the Democratic primary. That's her name, right?
Yes, Allison Lundergan Grimes. She's the Secretary of State.
And good candidate.
She is. She's their best remaining candidate. A lot of folks didn't want to run.
Yeah.
She's young, but that's going to probably work to her advantage against a guy like Mitch McConnell. She's kind of a young female political newbie, and so far she's running a pretty solid campaign.
And Republicans seem worried about her?
Yeah, they've kind of gone all out. She's already had ads run against her, and we're over a year out from Election Day. And just this week, a spokesman for the National Republican Senatorial Committee, it's the campaign committee here in Washington, called her an empty dress. That was for a story I was working on, kind of looking at how she hasn't been nailed down on some issues.
Yeah.
Yeesh.
Right, but
this is a path to success. Yeah, right. Let's do some anti-feminist.
Well, right, because Mitch McConnell already has issues with female voters. So, I mean, they've been fundraising off of it. It's been all across the news.
So we got Kentucky. I want to ask about Wyoming. Liz Cheney, train wreck, right? So far.
It's hard to say because it's hard to get a feel for what conservatives on the ground in Wyoming think about her because she really is.
Well, they do like Mike Enzi, don't they? Their incumbent senator. I mean,
they do.
He's given them no reason.
Well, that's exactly it, and that's I think why she's been so loud about these positions. That's why she came out so early about the gay marriage issue, and then got in a spat with her sister, and that's why she actually came out in opposition to Syria, and we haven't heard from Senator Enzi how he feels on it.
Right.
So she's really trying to make as much noise to get as much attention as she can because she's going to have a tough race.
Is the carpetbagger issue still a big one with her?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, she does things like post pictures of her and her daughter at a horse ranch in Wyoming on her Facebook page to try to prove her Wyoming cred. But I don't know if it's going to work.
My big question, is there any way that I could vote in that primary without moving to Wyoming?
I don't know. You don't want to move to Wyoming? Here it's beautiful.
It's tough to do this show from Washington and live in Wyoming, but if there were a way, we could get a lot of votes.
Sure.
But you'll be known as the guy that voted for Mike Enzi.
Yeah.
The lesser of two evils, I think.
It may be. We're bouncing around here, I know, geographically, but that's what we do here on the show. Let's go down to Louisiana. Mary Landrieu lives right here on the Hill. She's always had a tough race. I mean, for a Democrat to get elected statewide in Louisiana, it's tough.
Right.
How's it look for her?
Well, she's won every race. And
yeah, she has.
Yes,
that's true.
Exactly.
Right.
And Democrats actually think she's one of their toughest candidates. She's just a really shrewd political mind. She's been fundraising. But she's also got a tough candidate in Congressman Bill Cassidy, who is probably, I mean, he's conservative, but he's moderate enough to get some of the crossover and the moderates that he would need. So that race hasn't really started to heat up, except there was a recent report about Landrieu's husband, Frank Snellings, and his real estate work with some D.C. lobbyists who have business in front of Landrieu. So Republicans are trying to make this an issue for her and trying to, call it foul play. There's no evidence that there has been foul play, but it's an indication of how much they want to win, that already, there's these negative reports coming out, and they're trying to make them an issue. So
yeah. It'd be hard, Mary Landrieu, a lot of people like me, she's a good friend of mine, but a lot of people like me sometimes are disappointed in her votes as a Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
When you understand where she comes from,
right,
and what the politics of Louisiana are, I mean, it would be hard to accuse her of being too liberal, right?
Right, absolutely. I mean, she's been one of kind of the most outspoken Democratic or Republican voices for oil and gas interests, which are big in Louisiana, and it's frustrated some people, but it's important for re-elect.
Yeah, that is the economy. That is the economy of Louisiana. So if I had to bet on that race, I would bet on Mary Landrieu. We haven't talked about Rhode Island, haven't talked about New Jersey, another important Senate race. And overall, the impact, again, of Syria on these elections. It's nuts. It's really not 2013 so much as 2014 most people are concerned about. Alexandra Jaffe's here from the Hill. You're welcome to join the conversation. Any questions, any comments for Alexandra? 866-55-PRESS.
Go mobile with Bill Press. Download podcasts at BillPressShow.com and listen anytime, anywhere. This is The Bill Press Show.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know, you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Like politics? Then like The Bill Press Show on Facebook. This is The Bill Press Show.
Hey, at the top of the next hour, there's a huge campaign underway on the part of the administration to sign people up for ObamaCare and make Americans aware of the fact that they do qualify for ObamaCare. Those who do not have health insurance at their workplace. Ron Pollack, head of Families USA, is going to be here in studio to tell us all about that. And then Neil King will be joining us from the Wall Street Journal. Right now we're talking politics and the politics of Syria with Alexandra Jaffe, political reporter for The Hill, thehill.com, of course. And full disclosure, I'm a columnist for The Hill, so I have a certain bias in support of The Hill. But it's a great newspaper and covers the both ends of Pennsylvania Avenue better than anybody else. Check it out at thehill.com. And talking about, better start right here. We do have some breaking news on Syria. We learned during the break. Tony Blinken, Anthony Blinken, is the Deputy National Security Advisor for the President of the United States. Alexandra, we've been tossing around this question. The President has asked Congress to debate and to vote on the authorization of a military strike against Syria. The White House has been saying all along that the President has the authority to do this without consulting Congress. I think they're wrong on that, by the way, but that the Supreme Court would ultimately decide. So that leaves the question, well, what if Congress votes no? What would the White House do? Right. And the White House has refused to answer that. We've at our White House briefings, we've been pushing Jay Carney for an answer. Refused to answer that. All they keep saying is we have the authority to act absent authorization of Congress. But here's what Tony Blinken just told NPR.
The President, of course, has the authority to act, but it's neither his desire nor his intention to use that authority absent Congress backing him.
Okay. Mr. Blinken, thank you very much for the time.
Thank you.
Now, that's sort of Washington speak, right?
Right.
He has neither the intention, he has the authority, but he's got neither the intention nor the desire to use it. Is that a yes or a no?
Yeah, we were just talking about how there's some wiggle room there. I mean, it's not a no, but it's not a yes. Right. So it'll be interesting.
It sounds more like a no than a yes to me.
Right.
But
on its
you're
face,
right.
it's a no. I think anywhere else, that's a no. But in this town, it could easily be a yes.
I think it's the reason I think it's more of a no than a yes is because I think it'd be very difficult and for the president to order a military strike against Syria if Congress has said we are totally against it.
You know, Senator,
and would go against what he has said.
Right,
too.
exactly. It wouldn't be good for him. It wouldn't be good for the U.S. Senator Rand Paul actually talked about introducing a bill that would make it unconstitutional for him to move forward without congressional approval if they voted no. And of course, he's a conservative. He'll probably get a lot of traction with that one. So that would be interesting, kind of an interesting rub.
I would argue that you don't need that because you've got the Constitution of the United States and you have the War Powers Act.
I do think that if he does go ahead with it, all hell will break loose.
Oh, absolutely. And I might point you to my column, if you have any doubts about that, at BillPressShow.com, where I point out, I mean, the War Powers Act, I don't have a copy, but it says the president, yes, he can act without an authorization of Congress in the case of their direct hostilities against the United States or one of our territories. The use of chemical weapons by Syria against its own people in no way constitutes hostilities against the United States or our territories. I support the military strike, but I still think the president does legally need authorization. But I'm going to come back to this impact on the races. And I think the argument could be made that Hillary Clinton may have lost the Democratic primary because of her vote on Iraq.
Right.
Now, Barack Obama was not in the Senate. And ironically, he might have actually voted for it. Had he been in the Senate, we don't know, but he didn't. But she did. So this vote is going to count, isn't it?
Absolutely, particularly for Republicans, because, you know, there's a big split in the GOP on this issue between those kind of more traditional hawks and the new libertarian, more, they call themselves uninterventionist rather than isolationist. But yeah, it'll be, I mean, we've already seen a lot of the leading contenders for 2016. So Senator Paul, Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz even come out in opposition to Syria strikes.
Right. All right. So just make sure we cover the landscape. Lincoln Chafee, what happened in Rhode Island? He's not going to run again.
He's not going to run again.
One term. That's it.
Well, you know, it was a surprise. I said this a little bit earlier. It was a surprise, but not a shock, because he just switched to the Democratic Party from being an independent, from being a Republican. So he was already facing probably a primary that was going to be a tough one, because folks think that he's a bit of a, you know, traitor to any party. And he decided it wasn't really worth it, and he wanted to focus on governing rather than running for re-election.
And is New Jersey in the bag for Cory Booker?
Yeah, most likely. I mean, any traction that Steve Lonegan could have gained, he's probably forfeited with some just wacky comments he's made. I don't know if you read any reports. Cory Booker was talking about rumors that he was gay.
Yeah.
And he dismissed them and said, it's no big deal, I don't really care. And Steve Lonegan called that weird and said something about, well, if Cory Booker wants to get manicures, that's okay, but I like being a man.
Yeah, I like smoking my cigars and drinking my whiskey or something like that.
It's just been going on like that ever since, so he's not going to gain much traction.
Despite Chris Christie's endorsement, Steve Lonegan, no, the next senator from New Jersey is Cory Booker, no doubt about it. Fun to cover the political landscape. We covered a lot of territory here, Alexandra. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks
All right.
for having me.
Right, and I'll be back and tell you what the president is up to today on his last day in St. Petersburg.
Follow us on Twitter at BP Show. This is the Bill Press Show.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach
likes
your
you.
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
This is the Bill Press Show.
In the next hour, we're going to talk Obamacare at the top of the hour with Ron Pollack from Families USA, and then on to Neil King of the Wall Street Journal. President Obama, halfway through his day, second day in St. Petersburg, he met with the President of China this morning, then a working session with members of the G20. They took their family photo. They're now in a working lunch. Then the president will hold a meeting, a one-on-one with President Hollande of France, holding a news conference this afternoon before he meets with some civic activists from Russia, including members of the LGBT community. Leaves St. Petersburg, heading back here to Washington, arrives back on the South Lawn of the White House at 9:30 tonight. Look for an Oval Office address this weekend.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Aww, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look, your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
And a big Friday morning. Good morning, everybody. Great to see you this Friday, September 6th. It is the Bill Press Show. We're coming to you live from our nation's capital, bringing you all the news of the day here in Washington, D.C., around the country, and around the globe. We'll tell you what's going on and then give you a chance to sound off about it and let us know what it all means to you and to your family. Great to have you with us today. And remember, when you want to sound off, you can do so by phone at 866-55-PRESS. Join us on Twitter at BP Show and on Facebook at facebook.com/Bill Press Show for your comments. This Friday, President Obama, another long day in St. Petersburg at the G20 summit. He'll have some group meetings. He'll take a group family photo, they call it. President one-on-one meetings with the president of China and the president of France. And then after that long day of meeting, he hops on Air Force One to come back across the pond, arriving at the White House tonight on the South Lawn in Marine One at 9:30 p.m., maybe for an address to the nation this weekend or Monday from the Oval Office. A lot of people are saying the president's got to do that to get the support of the Congress and the American people behind a military strike in Syria. An indication of maybe heading in that direction. The president has canceled his planned trip to the West Coast on Monday. In some other news, Alec Baldwin is the latest to get his own show on MSNBC starting this fall. And George Zimmerman, the man who got away with murder, literally, for murdering Trayvon Martin, was served divorce papers yesterday. It couldn't happen to a nicer scumbag. All of that on the Bill Press Show.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Aww, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look! Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach
likes
your
you.
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Did you see the world differently? Did you celebrate the victory?
So today, I state clearly and with conviction America's commitment to seek the peace and security of a world without nuclear weapons.
Did you stand up against our greatest threat?
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
An address from the Oval Office by the President of the United States making the case for Syria, for a military strike on Syria. Will that happen this weekend? A lot of people say they expect it, and the President has to do it if he's going to sell the Congress and the American people. Good morning, everybody. On a Friday, September 6th, good to see you today. Thank you for joining us, and welcome to the Bill Press Show, coming out to you live all the way across this great land of ours, coast to coast, on your local progressive talk radio station. Of course, we are primarily and proud to be a radio show, but you can also watch us online if you just go to youtube.com/TawkrTV. youtube.com/Tawker, Tawkr TV, online, and as of Monday, September 9, we will also be on that TV screen on Free Speech TV, which you can pick up on Direct TV or the Dish Network. Whether you're watching or listening, good to have you with us this Friday morning as we go into the weekend with our roundup of the news of the day and your calls and comments. Your calls welcome at 866-55-PRESS. Your comments welcome on Twitter at BP Show or on Facebook at facebook.com/BillPressShow. We are also getting close to the time when people are going to be able to sign up if they don't get health care through their workplace. Sign up for ObamaCare, a big effort underway to let people know about this opportunity and to get them to sign up. An effort led in part, among other organizations, by Families USA. Ron Pollack, president of Families USA, good friend of the program, back in studio this morning. Hey, Ron.
Delighted to be with you.
Nice to see you. Taking time out from those busy efforts to come in and tell us all about it. Very, very important to get this message out, isn't it? And now's the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Millions of people who really want coverage, want protections, are about to be able to get them. Okay. October 1 is the day that enrollment begins. It's a 6-month enrollment period through March 31.
All right. And you'll tell us more about it and how people can do it and what they can expect here at the top of the hour. Our team's in place. Peter Ogburn and Dan Henning. Hello, guys.
Happy Friday.
Good morning.
And Alicia Cruz is there. Your calls, she's standing by to capture those calls, put you on the air. And Cyprian Bolding's got us looking good on the video cam on our online feed. And, you know, Ron, of course, we're talking Obamacare now. The big issue of the day, of course, is Syria. And as Jay Leno pointed out last night, gosh, this could be one thing where Republicans and Democrats come together, either for it or against it.
Republican leaders have agreed to support President Obama's plan to attack Syria. See, this is what I love about our country. The only time Republicans and Democrats agree on something is when it's time to bomb somebody.
It does.
Well, the president said the message is clear. His message is clear. Chemical weapons should not be used to kill civilians, period. That's what drones are for. That's why we have drones. That's what.
Oh, yeah, the truth comes out too often in the late night comics. So, Obamacare. Do you have health care? Do you know what the opportunity is? Do you know what it's going to cost? Do you know how to get it? You'll find out right here on the Bill Press Show. But first,
this is the Full Court Press.
Quick check of other headlines making news on this Friday. Alec Baldwin is heading to MSNBC to host a weekly talk show. Up Late is what it's called. It'll air Friday nights at 10 Eastern after Rachel Maddow's program, focusing on current events and culture. He said in a statement he's developed a fondness for content involving smart, talented, and engaging people in every imaginable field over the last couple of years of hosting his popular podcast. MSNBC says it looks forward to having his personality and eclectic interests as part of their lineup.
Why is MSNBC doing this?
I don't know. I don't know what it gets them other than that they don't have enough a-holes watching their network. He might bring some more in.
It brings them, we're talking about it, right?
Sure.
It brings them a little blip of publicity because they always do when they hire a celebrity. But my experience has been, and I've seen this over and over and over again, they hire a celebrity and bombs.
Yeah. I mean, he's a fiery guy, but how much bad press can MSNBC handle when he punches another photographer or something like that, you know?
Quite the power dinner on Capitol Hill set for tonight. Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid is hosting all the living former Senate Majority Leaders for a meal in the Capitol, attending the bipartisan, I should not say most of them, attending the bipartisan dinner. Bob Dole of Kansas, George Mitchell of Maine, Trent Lott of Mississippi, Tom Daschle of South Dakota, and Bill Frist of Tennessee. Politico reports Howard Baker of Tennessee was invited, but he will not be there.
That's going to be I'd love to be a fly on the wall in that room, huh? Yeah.
They're doing a photo opportunity, but no questions allowed from the press. And in sports, the NFL season got underway last night. The Super Bowl champion Baltimore Ravens, well, they went down pretty hard. Peyton Manning for the Denver Broncos threw a record-tying 7 touchdown passes. Broncos beat the Ravens 49-27 in Denver. Peyton is the 6th NFL quarterback to throw 7 touchdowns in a game. Last player to do that, Joe Kapp, back in 1969.
Unbelievable. So I guess maybe we should not count on the Ravens to win the Super Bowl 2 years in a row.
Well, it's like we talked about yesterday with Cindy Boren from the Washington Post. I mean, the Ravens gutted their defense. They gutted their defense after they won the Super Bowl. And you know what happens when you gut your defense?
You lose 49-24.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, Ron Pollack, October 1, what is it about this day? What is available on October 1 that hasn't been available so far?
Well, first of all, your listeners should know that they can get more information by going to a new website that the Department of Health and Human Services has set up called healthcare.gov, and they can get information about how they can get enrolled, where they can get enrolled, what help they can receive. So healthcare.gov is a good place for people to go. Starting on October 1, people can get enrolled in coverage. They will go and select a plan from a new marketplace that has been set up. And for people with incomes below 400% of poverty, now that's for a family of 4, that's $94,200 in annual income. For an individual living alone, that's $46,000. Anybody in that situation can get very substantial subsidies that will reduce their premium costs. So this is very new, and we're talking about thousands of dollars, and everybody in this group that's eligible, those with the lowest incomes will get the greatest help. And so it's going to mean that people who couldn't find health coverage affordable in the past now will get the help they need, so it will be affordable.
So this is aimed at people who are not already covered by health care at their workplace.
That's correct.
Okay. But now they have the opportunity to buy it. Can they buy it? Does it matter where they live? Is this up to each state to enact, or
No. In every one of the 50 states, people will be able to go into this new marketplace, and the eligibility standard that I just mentioned, $94,200 for a family of 4, $46,000 for an individual, that applies nationwide.
Nationwide. Okay. Now they go to healthcare.gov.
Healthcare.gov is the current website that the Department of Health and Human Services has set up, and you can get lots of information now. You don't have to wait for October 1.
Right. Well, what if they don't have a computer?
Well, if they don't have
access to a computer.
If they don't have a computer...
hard for us to understand, but a lot of people don't.
This is true. There are a lot of different groups that are providing help. There are groups called navigators that have gotten resources so that they can counsel people and they can help people get enrolled. You can get enrolled either online or in person or by telephone.
Where in person? But I mean, where would you go? You go to your...
Well, in each state, there are going to be different people assisting folks in getting enrolled. And the list in each person's state is different.
Right, got it. Okay. And what are we talking about in terms of how many? So, how many millions of people qualify, or how many people do not? Is there any rough estimate? Do not get health care through their place of work?
Well, the total number of people who are uninsured today is 49 million people, and the only people out of that 49 million who can't get any help are those people who are not legally in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And so well over 30 million people can get help who don't have health insurance today.
Now, I keep hearing this number 7 million. The goal is to enroll 7 million people.
So
where does that come from?
Where that 7 million figure came from is that the Congressional Budget Office is always asked, what's your estimate of the number of people who will get enrolled in the first year? And so the Congressional Budget Office said 7 million. But, they're going to be annual enrollment periods. This one is a very long one. It's 6 months. And our hope is we do a whole lot better than 7 million.
So October 1 through March 1, right?
31.
March 31.
That's
right. Got it. Yeah.
That's right. And anybody who enrolls now, prior to January 1, will start to get this new help on January 1.
Wow. And are you looking for? So you're out there. How are you doing it? I mean, you're looking for young people, older people? I mean, what's the target?
All of the above. Now, obviously, there's a lot of interest about getting young people enrolled for a number of reasons. Young adults are the age cohort that has the largest number of people who are uninsured. But, as I mentioned, these subsidies that people get will be provided in such a way that the more help you need, the more help you will receive.
Yeah.
Now, young adults may still be getting an education, or they may be in an entry-level job, so they've got lower income.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're going to get a disproportionate benefit, a disproportionate subsidy. So they're going to be helped. But, this helps early retirees as well. Early retirees probably have limited income because they're no longer in a job. They may have some health problems.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's very important for that age group to get covered as well.
Now, this is, one gets the impression, because the administration is pushing this so much, right, and trying to get people in, that this is government insurance. This is not. This is still private insurance, correct?
Absolutely.
It's a choice of private insurance plans that they are a list of that they're choosing from, right?
That's exactly right. This is private insurance, and so now the marketplace will have lots of different health plans that people can select from. And the idea, this is a conservative idea. Obviously, conservatives have thrown their, are now opposed to it.
Well, that's because Obama's for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there will be competition among private insurance plans. And obviously, a private insurance plan that provides good coverage at a reasonable price, they're probably going to get a decent market share.
Yeah. What is... I saw the former President Bill Clinton had a forum on this week.
Yes, he was in Little Rock, and he gave a speech that helped explain why this is so important.
The Baltimore Ravens have come out as a team saying this is important. They've endorsed this, encouraging people to go find out what your options are. Is the Department of Health and Human Services, are they going to be doing any advertising on this?
Yes, they will. And I have to say, Secretary Sebelius, who's the Secretary of Health and Human Services, she's done an extraordinary job, both helping to make sure that we're ready come October 1, and she's traveling around the country trying to explain this to people. And the department is going to be doing advertising. They're not the only ones. There are a lot of disability organizations and health organizations. For someone who's got cancer or diabetes or high blood pressure, this can be enormously helpful.
So people who have never been able to afford it, or for various reasons would not qualify for health insurance, right? Now the door is open.
It's wide open. It's a new day. And ultimately, this is going to take us down the path of making sure that everybody legally in the country can get health coverage.
Get us as close to universal coverage as we've ever been and may ever be. Ron Pollack is here from Families USA. This is extremely important. That's why we wanted to talk about it. And the opportunity is right around the corner here, October 1st. Your questions and your comments, if you are thinking about getting into this, now's the time to find out. Give us a call at 866-55-PRESS.
This is the Bill Press Show. This is the Bill Press Show.
All right, here we go. 25 minutes after the hour, Neil King national political reporter for the Wall Street Journal, here in studio with us. In the next round, we'll go back to some of the political ramifications of the president's attempt to get authorization of Congress for a military strike against Syria. Right now, we're talking about another big government operation, an attempt to get at least 7 million people, hopefully more, signed up for ObamaCare by the end of March. You can start doing so as of October 1. Neil King, next up, Ron Pollack, president of U.S. Families USA, here in studio with us. So, Ron, I just want to look ahead. If you get 7 or 10 million more Americans signed up now who've never been able to get health care and now can get health care, I mean, the chances that Obamacare is going to be repealed, this gets less and less every day, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's why the opponents of Obamacare are so frustrated. They know the time is running out, and so they're doing just extraordinary things. You know, there are a group of organizations, they're mainly community-based organizations, some of them are hospitals and health clinics, that are designed to provide counsel and help so that people get enrolled. And at the state level, and now the House Energy and Commerce Committee Republicans are harassing these folks and saying they've got no right to provide this kind of counseling. They need to get licenses in order to provide this help. The House Energy and Commerce Committee has asked for reams of paper from hospitals and community groups to explain what they're doing, who is doing it, what kind of qualifications they have. So this is desperation.
Yeah, just like they tried to suppress the vote, now they're trying to suppress it. How much money are we talking about? What, for an individual? I guess it varies from state to. Well, they have a choice of plans, but
it really varies based on income. It varies based on income, and so somebody, say, who's at double the poverty line, which is getting into the middle class, they're going to get many thousands of dollars each year in subsidies, and that will reduce their premium. So if a family of 3, if the premium is like, say, $8,500, they will get subsidies of $5,000, $6,000, $7,000.
Wow.
And they only have to pay the remaining costs. Yeah. And so this is going to be a whole lot more affordable.
It's a huge, huge opportunity. Very, very important. And the way to find out more about it, you go familiesusa.org, of course, but also healthcare.gov. Go to that site, healthcare.gov, and take advantage of this. And Ron, thanks for your leadership on this issue coming in this morning.
This is the Bill Press Show.
I will never
Get social with Bill Press. Like us at facebook.com/Bill Press Show. This is the Bill Press Show.
And coming to you live from our nation's capital at 33 minutes after the hour here on this Friday morning, September 6th. It is the Bill Press Show again, live coast to coast on your local progressive talk radio station, wherever you happen to be in this great land of ours. Also live online at youtube.com/TawkrTV. Don't forget how to spell Talker, the new way to spell Talker, TawkrTawkr TV. And on Monday, you'll be able to catch us on television as well, back on TV. No, not current TV. They're gone. Not Al Jazeera. They didn't want us. No, we got something a lot better. Free Speech TV, which you could pick up on Dish Network and on the direct TV. Breaking news on the job numbers for the month of August, and all the breaking news of Syria or jobs or whatever. Neil King's on top of it for the Wall Street Journal. Hello, Neil. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Bill.
Thanks for coming in. What are those job numbers, Peter?
169,000 jobs, 169,000 jobs added. The unemployment rate falls to 7.3, down from 7.4. The big story that a lot of people are looking at are the downward revisions for June and July, by the way.
Oh.
74,000 fewer jobs in June and July than we originally thought. Which is
it's funny. Usually when they adjust those, they go up. I haven't seen them go down. But let's just talk about August, 169,000. Neil, not bad.
No, that's a good number. It's not eye-popping. More like 250,000 would be the kind of thing that would move numbers in a bigger way. And it seems, though, I'm not on the Federal Reserve. I just want to make that clear. But, the big discussion is how to proceed with monetary policy starting in the fall. And this will probably lead them more likely to start pulling back on some of this juicing of the system that they've been doing for more than a year now.
Because they'll say, I've lost track now. This is maybe like month number 28 or 29. We're positive job growth. And so you think they might say, okay, we've turned the corner. Clearly, now we can ease off and don't have to pump so much money
I think so.
in.
I mean, with emphasis on the word ease, because there's still a lot that's tentative about their actions and the economy. But I think it seems to me that from what I've been reading, this is the kind of numbers that is going to give them somewhat more confidence. Though, who knows, maybe the downward revisions of the earlier months might give them some caution.
And down to 7.3% in the unemployment rate. So it's keep moving in the right direction, but slowly. Huh?
I think that's now the number probably about where we were like in the last couple of months of the Bush administration, 7.3, if I recall. I think that's about what didn't Obama take over at about 7.5?
I think it was 7.8 when he took over. I'm not
really?
Sure, but
okay, so we're well under. I know that we've been under.
Peter will check it since neither you nor I know. That's why he's here. He's
There's many reasons that Peter's here.
Yeah. He's the fact checker. All right, the market got a little rattled earlier in the week over Syria news. Now seems to have straightened out.
It's always a little hard to understand exactly what the market does. I mean, it would be better than the market soaring over Syria news, right?
Yeah, that's right. Think of it that way.
That'd be a little strange.
No, it is. I always find it hard to figure out. It's almost like anything could make them nervous, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was like the oil industry. The oil prices were like gyrating around a bit. Syria gives very little oil to the market anyway. Of course, that's a oil-rich area, so there's a lot of concern, I guess, about what it might mean to the transport of oil and the like.
All right, now you've been reporting here from our nation's capital longer than I have. Let me ask you this. Do you believe the president will, make an address to the nation on Syria coming back from St. Petersburg?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the talk is Tuesday night. He's got to do it. He will do that. I mean, the big question, I think, is can the president, sitting at a desk or wherever he does it from, in one of those big primetime kind of speeches, sway the nation in notable ways, or particularly sway members of the House? I'm skeptical. This is like off the charts unusual in terms of the depth of public opposition. I mean, you hear it from all the members of Congress that I've spoken to. You see it in the polls. I mean, if you go back and look at the polls on do you approve or disapprove of this upcoming military action that we might do, or this one that we just did, going back, 20 or 30 years? At the least, you see sort of like a halfway split. At the moment, we're seeing like a 3/4 opposed kind of thing.
And how do you explain that? Is it just because we're just tired of these damn wars?
I think that's, there's a bunch of reasons. I think one of them is we're tired of these wars. Secondly, I think for whatever reason, there hasn't been a buildup and kind of demonization, or whatever the word would be, about Bashar al-Assad. I mean, people don't look at him in the way they did Saddam Hussein. We had obviously gone to war with
Gaddafi.
Yeah, who we had like a long history with, and
painting
deeply,
him as a demon.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we have nobody to look at on the other side that the guys with the white hats that we want to help protect. I mean, obviously people care about the Syrian people, but there's not a face or a name or anybody on the opposition side. These are the people that we need to listen. So this guy could take over the country.
And the rebels are split, and part of the rebel is an Al-Qaeda-backed organization, right? So that's really murky on that side.
Yeah.
I would add to that the fact that I think people have lost track of how serious chemical weapons are and how different they are.
Yeah. It's just
profound. I heard one from, just jumping in, one of my latest column on this is up at BillPressShow.com, and I heard from where I said I think Congress will eventually do it, I may be wrong, and should approve the limited military strike. And a good friend of mine from California came in and said, oh, so they killed 100,000 people with conventional weapons, and you don't give a damn, but they killed 1,400 with chemical weapons, and now we bomb them, right?
Yeah.
And there is a difference, I think, between chemical weapons and conventional weapons, but a lot of people don't appreciate that maybe
what's stunning to me is if you go back to 2002 when we had the debate about whether we should go into Iraq, and in this case it was a huge debate about, does this country have these truly menacing weapons like chemical weapons? So we had the debate. We said we think they do. We go in and invade. We all know what the aftermath was. In this case, we have a country next door. They've got huge amounts of the stuff that we were worried about in Iraq. They have been using them in dozens, and now 14 cases in the last year and a half or something. Yeah. They have a long history of using it, and yet we're just totally at loggerheads as a nation about whether we should do anything. It's an amazing shift.
Does it strike you as curious that a lot of you mentioned Iraq, a lot of the super hawks on Iraq, Rick Santorum, the latest yesterday, who have come out against any action in Syria. They were hawkish for a war where there were no weapons of mass destruction, as you just indicated, and yet they're dovish on a case where there are weapons.
The list goes on. I mean, we have Don Rumsfeld is in that position. John Bolton is in that position. I mean, Liz Cheney. I mean, it's not like Dick Cheney has been coming out. The thing, if you look at it, that Liz Cheney, of course, is running for the Senate in Wyoming. She would be, if she were to make it into the Senate, one of the most hawkish people in that body, one of the most hawkish people in Congress by far. And yet she's gone through all these kind of curious gyrations to put herself in the no column. Marco Rubio, there was a lot of kind of contorted thinking in a lot of ways. He was like, this is an amazing threat, a huge threat to world peace and stability, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I think it's too little too late.
How much of it is due to the fact that this is Obama?
I think it's a lot of that. If you look back, as I have, the Kosovo War, which if anybody were to look back at that now, say, that made sense, right?
No.
And I don't think too many people would question that now. So at the time when the vote went to the House, 187 Republicans voted against that measure. And they were calling it the Clinton-Gore War and so on. I mean, so these things are very political. It's the other thing that is worth noting, by the way. There were 87 Democrats who voted for the Iraq War in 2002 in the House. 22 of them are still in the House. So, I mean, that is a changed body. And the thing is that so many of the people who have taken their place, especially on the Republican side, and a lot of the blue dog Democrats who got beat in the South, many of whom were the ones that really gave a lot of weight to the yes vote in that moment, have been replaced by kind of skittish, oftentimes Tea Party-oriented Republicans. It's a way less, kind of militant Congress than we've seen.
This whole debate is so tough to figure out for so many different reasons, as you pointed out. Another one is I keep hearing this argument, well, we never know what he's going to do if we strike. We never know what he might attack Israel. Well, so I went back yesterday and writing my column and checked. Since the Civil War started in 2011, Israel has struck militarily inside of Syria 3 times.
Yeah.
What has Saddam Hussein done? Nothing. I mean, that's Bashar al-Assad.
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
So he's not retaliated 3 times.
If you look back,
what makes people there's always a possibility, but why are people so convinced that he will attack Israel?
Not only that, but there's really no precedent for that kind of thing. Even if you go back to the Iraq War, which had a lot of unforeseen consequences, to put it mildly. Right?
Yeah, 10 years of them.
Yeah, but the one that we talked about, the consequence that we most feared, a similar one, was going to be he would unleash all these things that in the end he didn't have. He would lash out at all these other countries, which he didn't really even have the capability to do. He was distracted by more pressing things. Generally, those kinds of consequences aren't the one. They are generally unforeseen consequences. They're probably the ones that we're not talking about now. Not this. He's not going to have the wherewithal, I don't think, to attack all kinds of other people.
We're trying to sort it all out here with Neil King. You can join the conversation and add your comments and your questions at any time. A couple of questions lingering here is, will the president get the vote? And if he doesn't, does he dare go without the authorization of Congress? Neil King here, national political reporter for Wall Street Journal. You know the number, 866-55-PRESS.
This is the Bill Press Show. Get social with Bill Press. Like us at facebook.com/Bill Press Show. This is the Bill Press Show.
All right, we got 12 minutes now to go before the top of the hour here on the Bill Press Show this Friday, September 6th. Congress just tied in knots, I should say, over Syria with the House and the Senate. They're coming back next week. They've already been debating it. Vote will probably take place next week. Neil King, national political reporter for the Wall Street Journal, WSJ.com, actually in studio. And Neil, the question of what President... Well, first of all, do you think President Obama gets the vote? Or
right now, I think it would go down. Right now,
right.
It's about, can he do convincing either nationally or, person by person in the House in particular, and I think it could be tough.
He's going to have to do the national sales job, isn't he?
Well, he's going to have to do that, and then he's going to have to do the very pinpointed sales job, and I think he's going to have to literally put. It's one thing to argue this is in the world's interest, the national interest. I think particularly in the person-to-person congressional calls, he's going to have to make the case to the Democrats that it is in their party's interest and his personal interest. That that's really a matter of prestige, and it will be a huge blow to his prestige.
Can probably get it out of the Senate, but it's going to take House Democrats, House Republicans, for a variety of reasons, some of which are because they want Obama to look bad. And John Boehner and Eric Cantor may vote for it, but they're not going to whip it, as they say. Yeah. So it's going to be House Democrats are going to have to deliver this for Obama.
I talked to some people that were saying that it could be a split in the caucus, 100-100, which would be disastrous, of course, on the Democratic side, similar to the vote on the continuation of the Bush tax cuts. I don't think we've seen any similar, divisive issue go before the House, the Democratic side of the House. If it gets up to like 50, I don't think it can go. 50 Democrats voting no, then you need 170
Republicans.
That's not going to be hard.
Not going to get it. Yeah. So then the question comes: what would the president do if Congress votes no? Would the president dare go ahead? Very interesting that Tony Blinken, Antony Blinken, the Deputy National Security Chief for the President, this morning told NPR, well, let's listen to him and you tell me whether it's a yes or a no.
The president, of course, has the authority to act, but it's neither his desire nor his intention to use that authority absent Congress backing him.
Okay. Mr. Blinken, thank you very much for the time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He's got the authority, but he doesn't want to do it and doesn't intend to do it.
Doesn't mean he won't do it. Right? I mean,
that's just kind of a Washington no, isn't it?
It's a fascinating and I think probably pre-programmed response in that it was very finely said. Right? He doesn't want to, he doesn't intend to, but he could, and he may. And the funny thing is that Obama himself has said that he thinks he has that right, and that
John Kerry has said it too, that we don't need it. We don't need the authorization of Congress. I think they're wrong on that, by the way. My reading of the law, I'm not a lawyer, but I think the War Powers Act is pretty clear.
It seems to me that once you go down that road, he made the argument on Saturday that he thought that it was right. I mean, that it was his mind that Congress should weigh in. That becomes a legal thing.
I could be wrong. I think it would be a disaster of multiple proportions for the president to order a military strike if Congress has debated it and has voted no.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not that he has to run again. I'm not saying he'd be impeached. I'm not saying he has to run again, because he doesn't. But it would just mean he wouldn't be able to get anything done, I think, after that.
What's amazing is in the backdrop, we're now, the Congress is going to come in, they're going to devour however many days when they come here doing the Syria thing. If you rewind the reels about 2 weeks ago when we were all saying they don't have the time for any of the stuff that's on their plate, and they have so much that's like truly dire. If something like this were to not only eat up the time, which it's going to, but then end in that kind of a conclusion where they voted down, but he goes ahead anyway, forget everything else. I mean, it would be, talk about a crumbling of any potential consensus in Washington on this other stuff.
To me, the biggest sign that Syria has just overtaken everything is, so he arrives in St. Petersburg, and then we talked yesterday about the fact that he's not meeting one-on-one with Vladimir Putin. And I couldn't remember why he and Putin had this falling out. It was Edward Snowden. That's all we were talking about 2 weeks ago. Who talks about Edward Snowden anymore? I mean, it was like, moved on beyond that, right?
The fact that they talked barely, sort of smiled at one another for a few seconds, and that's it. and the president of the United States goes all the way to Russia, and he has like a 15-second encounter with the head of Russia. That's pretty amazing.
And they have fun.
Yeah.
Right.
Fun encounter.
And they have a G20 summit, and apparently the topic du jour at the working dinner last night was Syria. And the president got back to his hotel at 2:00 in the morning. So he took Syria with him, right?
Yeah.
Bringing it back. Well, when they come back, Monday, Tuesday next week, I mean, the next 2 weeks are going to be pretty rock and roll here.
This could easily spill into the week after, too. I think that's quite a possibility.
Right. Yeah. Indeed. Neil King, always good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you, Bill.
Thanks for coming in. Keep on top of it, and come back and see us again soon.
Absolutely.
I'll wrap it up with a parting shot about Donald Rumsfeld, one of my favorite people to hate.
Go mobile with Bill Press. Download podcasts at BillPressShow.com and listen anytime, anywhere. This is The Bill Press Show. The Parting Shot with Bill Press. This is The Bill Press Show.
Well, you know, from members of Congress to the man and woman on the street, everybody has an opinion about Syria and should. This is important stuff. But there's one person I don't want to hear from on this issue, and that's our former Secretary of Defense, Donald Rumsfeld. First of all, the man has zero credibility. He's the guy, remember, after September 11, who advised George Bush to attack Iraq and not Afghanistan because there were more targets in Iraq. Then he was one of those, along with George Bush, Dick Cheney, Condi Rice, and Colin Powell, who fanned the flames for invading Iraq by repeating all those lies about weapons of mass destruction. In fact, he's one of those responsible for the fact that Americans today are so skeptical about Syria's use of chemical weapons because people remember the lies that Rummy and others told us about Iraq, and they're afraid we're being snookered again. So let's all have a good debate about Syria with one exception. Donald Rumsfeld, shut the hell up. All right, with that. Hey, folks, I'll see you on Ed Schultz on MSNBC tonight, and I'll see you back here again on Monday. Have a great
This
weekend.
is the Bill Press Show.